While Myanmar is continuing to face the aftershocks from the worst earthquake in recent times, rescue operations are now on across Mandalay and other affected regions. The death toll has passed the 1,700 mark and over 3,000 people are injured. Reports suggest that both hospitals and crematoriums in Mandalay are facing a crisis. Humanitarian assistance is coming in from all parts of the world and neighbors, with India sending a 118 member team. China has sent 82 rescuers. South Korea has announced $2 million in assistance, and Philippines, Malaysia, Russia have also deployed rescue teams. Several experts have predicted that the death toll may surge past the 10,000 mark as the authorities struggle to assess due to internet shutdowns, several meters of rubble and the vast impact. In some breaking developments, according to the Myanmar Fire Services Department official Facebook page, one woman who is featured in the video and her child were pulled alive from the Beijing hotel during rescue operations in the township of Mandalay region. Dramatic visuals pouring in from Myanmar, where we're now learning that a woman and her child have been rescued as well. Meanwhile, let me take the conversation forward. I have with me on the broadcast Mr. Naveen Bhatnagar, Mr. Naveen Bhatnagar, former DIG NDRF, Ambassador Pradeep Kapoor, Major General J.K. Bansal, and Dr. A.K. Bayani, journalist with us on the broadcast. Let me begin this conversation with Mr. Naveen Bhatnagar. Mr. Bhatnagar, I want to, of course, begin by understanding. Now, the earthquake took place the afternoon of Friday. There have been some aftershocks and tremors that have been reported so far. In fact, another shorter earthquake of 5.1 magnitude hit Myanmar today itself. In your experience and basis expert studies, what really becomes the time frame for the governments to work within when an earthquake of this magnitude takes place? So when does it become sort of a safe period for governments and rescue teams and others to move on, to move ahead without the fear of more aftershocks or another big tremor?
Actually, as per the rescue operation concerned and disaster, this type of operations norms are there. So in case of earthquake, as early as we can approach there, we means our rescue operator, they all should immediately approach there. They should try to rescue the people from the debris, as well as the victims also from the debris and the areas. And also government should try the makeshift of these hospitals or ambulances to shift these victims to the hospital. As well as the requirements are there, as because it is earthquake and a lot of mud is there due to the dwelling these buildings. So it is very difficult to take this breathing. So lot of inhale of mud comes under the chest. So again, it's a challenge for that. And also it's required the full attention towards the rescue operations. But here, the big buildings are collapsed, and in these buildings, what happened is a concrete buildings. So there are chance of air pockets. So in such buildings, air pockets are there where we have the chances to find out the victims and alive. Here, victims may be alive, but in other cases, it is difficult to get the people out, because the 10 minutes are the golden period which we have already lost. But here a lot of air pockets are there. There are chances to get the people alive. So all the rescue parties, especially I'll thank God to Government of India that immediately, without loss of time, immediately they have taken action, and the maximum aid was given to the Myanmar people. and the government's very good tie, uh, being our Mr. Narendra Modi. He is the chairperson for this disaster management authority, as well as the SAARC countries. All the SAARC countries, the duty of India to give immediately aid to the SAARC countries of nearby. So as per the norms, they have given the aid, and the people were there. So 55 ton of aid was given, and other aid is also ready. As and when it is required, immediately it will be given. And our other parties for this rescue operation, especially the NDRF army people, are ready in the second phase. But now, slowly, this problem is cope up, and where our people are doing very well, and doctors and our medical team and all the things are really wonderful work they are doing, including the Russia and China also. Everybody is taking part. But I will thank God to our NDRF people, to Government of India, that they have sent the well experienced staff, and all the people are doing day and night work. See, day and night work to give the rescue operation and to save the life. It's a really very commendable job. Yeah.
Okay, all right. I'll come to you in just a moment, sir. We have some more breaking news coming in. A fresh video has emerged from Myanmar. The video shows an entire block being wiped out due to a fire caused by the earthquake. The affected block is known as the Sinpan block in the suburban area of the country's second largest city. Dramatic visuals on your screens, viewers, of entire areas and blocks being completely wiped out. On that note, let me bring in Major General J.K. Bansal into the conversation. Major General Bansal, we've also learnt that the military junta in Myanmar continues its bombing and airstrikes despite the natural disaster that has taken place. In such a situation, how difficult does it become to continue the rescue and aid operations, especially for other nations?
Good evening. It's very unfortunate that junta government is still having the airstrike while the rebels who are fighting against junta, they have announced a truce for 2 weeks to facilitate the rescue work. So this time, at this tragedy, national tragedy, the junta government should focus on rescue work rather than fighting, because our rebels, they have also done this thing, and earlier it was that they are not even coming out the actual news. Now I would like to tell certain things here. There's the damage now in Myanmar as well as Thailand. These areas are very prone for earthquake, but building norms are not followed for earthquake. In Bangkok, they say only 10% of buildings are following earthquake norms, and one building which was constructed under construction has also fallen down, and Chinese companies are making it. So actually, if you see, more the development advanced is, that the more damage is coming from the earthquake, because in the earlier days, in the earthquake prone area, there used to be wooden houses with 1 or 2 stories, not the multi-story buildings. But now with the multi-story buildings are coming without following the norms. In Japan, they follow the norms. They even put wheel underneath the building so that it can shake and there won't be any damage. This kind of thing has to be kept in mind, otherwise there is no way out. One cannot predict that when the earthquake is going to come, and even though one can give a prediction for a few minutes, then there will be a chaos, and once the building collapses, it's very difficult. Even the norms, whatever we say, that you go to the corner of the building, go underneath the table, etc. For these multi-story buildings, such a rubble and the debris is there that nobody can be saved. So I would like to tell through your channels that now the time has come that they all must have the earthquake-proof building, and whatever building has been made, there should be a retrofitting. When I was in NDMA, National Disaster Management Authority, so we have made guidelines, and at that time, even our NDMA building was retrofitted. So retrofitting, they must make it earthquake-proof. That is the only way one can save it. And as far as the India is concerned, under the project this Brahma, we are giving help to Myanmar completely, and there is a team of doctors and our AMC Army Medical Corps under the leadership of Lieutenant Colonel. A 60 staff team has gone, which have established the field, this temporary hospital, and giving all kind of aids. The India's policy of towards east, and as well as the Vasudev Kutumbakam is here. So India is doing very well, and extending all kind of support. But whatever damage has been done, and from the multi-story building and damaged too much, it's very difficult to take out rescue. Of course, our NDRF team is very capable. They have got all kind of equipment. Even they can cut a window in the wall, because we have seen all these things. And I would like to tell here also, not only for the earthquake, but during tsunami and Fukushima, where there was the radiation, our team went from India, and they have worked in the radiation field and did the commendable job at that time. The Shinzo Abe has personally appreciated. So India is putting all its efforts, and I hope that everything should come under control. But the lesson should be learned, and the national policies to be made, that they should not make building without any norms followed by the building for earthquake. That is very, very important. Back to you.
Okay, all right. We also have some more breaking news coming in. The Singapore Foreign Minister has called for immediate ceasefire in Myanmar to facilitate earthquake aid efforts. Singapore has also announced a government contribution of $150,000. On that note, let me also bring in Ambassador Pradeep Kapoor into the conversation. Ambassador Kapoor, like I said, there's a troubling developments taking place in an already sensitive country like Myanmar, where there is political as well as civil unrest for the past many years. And before that, of course, for many decades as well, has been going on. But looking in the aftermath of the 2021 coup, we do see that the military junta has sent out a message that it does not want to stop the airstrikes, even though there is a natural disaster that has taken place. What really is the message that you feel that the military could be wanting to send out to the rebel groups, given the current situation?
Myanmar is going through so many problems at the same time, and these have been further compounded by this very severe earthquake, because this is 7.7 Richter scale, which is very devastating for any country, and particularly countries where the earthquake norms are not very stringent, as the Major General was also saying, because in Chile, where I lived, the norms were very strict, and most of the people did construction which was more than the required norms, beyond the norms. So when we had the 5th biggest earthquake, when I was the ambassador there, in the history of the world, very few buildings collapsed, and the number of deaths was very limited. Even though the earthquake was about 8.6 Richter scale, it was a very surprising fact for me to see that there was a tsunami also after that. More people died in the tsunami than in the earthquake. So for the people to be able to build that sort of construction, those edifices, was so amazing that there were tall buildings, skyscrapers, which were on wheels, as one of the other panelists mentioned. So the building would move, the buildings would sway left and right. You could see the whole building moving left and right, but it would not collapse. So the only significant structure which collapsed was the entire airport, because the airport had, the people concerned had taken special permission to build the airport below the required norms. So when that earthquake took place, the entire airport collapsed, and Chile, no flights could come in or go out of Chile for about 10-12 days, because there was no airport, no functioning airport, and the tarmac had fissures, so planes could not land. So it was a very difficult period for a lot of people who had to take flights out of Chile, who had come as tourists also. So here also, I guess the norms have to be made stricter, and people have to understand that they have to follow these bylaws, and it is to their benefit. Because if such a severe earthquake were to happen here, the number of deaths would be in very, very large numbers. It's fortunate that the earthquake severity in our part of the world, in India and the neighborhood, is not as severe as in Japan or Chile or some of these other countries, where the supersonics, the biggest earthquakes take place. But even then, the number of people who die is very, very large, even with the smaller level earthquakes. And this itself, this earthquake was not a very small earthquake. It is another matter that the military is continuing its, bombing efforts and trying to subdue the rebels and the ethnic groups which are rebelling. That they should stop immediately. The message has to go out very strongly from the international bodies and India also, that while these relief efforts are going on, you cannot continue with your bombing of the rebel groups, because all people have suffered, and it earthquake is not selective that some areas or some cities or some people suffer. A lot of people have suffered. So while everybody is helping Myanmar to get back on its feet, they have to work together with the international agencies, with the international people who are coming in. And India, of course, has some of the best expertise in the world in this regard. The National Disaster Management Authority of India is one of the
Yes,
most respected organizations in the world. The
yes,
capacity which India has in the world, I think very few countries have. The speed of response which India has, I don't think any other country has that.
yes,
So to land people there, to land equipment there, to land medicines there, to land
yes,
blankets there, to land health requirements, to cope
yes,
with the health requirements of the people, food requirements of the people, the capacities which India has built up, not only for itself but for other countries, is absolutely phenomenal. India's interventions are very, very appreciated. Even in Chile, we were the biggest donor and the biggest country which came in with the maximum amount of aid for Chile to recover from that severe earthquake. So India's capabilities are absolutely phenomenal. They are very respected, very acknowledged, very appreciated. So if India has to move in a very big way, it's already moved in a very significant way. It's probably amongst the biggest,
Yes.
actors on the ground even already. So they have to also communicate, because our ambassador in Myanmar has very direct links with all the people in terms of the ruling party and with the rebels. So he has to also communicate a very strong message that this will not be, sort of tolerated, and they have to control their urge to bring down the rebels at this time, so that the people can be rescued. People, because as one of the other panelists mentioned, the earlier you start rescuing people, the safer it is for them, because the otherwise they suffocate, they die, they breathe mud, and they cannot come out alive.